Hello, my royal lovelies. Welcome back to the channel, and as always, welcome to my home. Today is a day for celebration. It is Prince George's 11th birthday, and the royal family have not disappointed because the Prince and Princess of Wales have released via social media and in barcode photo to the press, which was revealed late last night, a brand new 11th birthday photograph of Prince George. It was taken in Windsor earlier this month, and it was taken by the Princess of Wales. So we get to see, not only do we get to see a brand spanking new, amazing picture of Prince George, but we also get to see another example of Catherine's photography, which we always look forward to. Now, I haven't zoomed in and, tried to count all the limbs and see if anything's blurry, or, there will be people that do that. I will leave it up to them. But it all looks well and complete to me. It doesn't look like there's been any tampering with the photo. So where shall we start? Well, we'll start with a big happy birthday to Prince George, 11 years old. Oh my goodness, where does the time go? Let's do a little bit of reminiscing, and of course I'll pop the photo on the screen as I'm talking. So, I remember, do you remember when Catherine announced her pregnancy? Well, William and Catherine announced their pregnancy to the world, and everyone just got so excited. Then we had all the press sort of coverage following Catherine around while she was pregnant, and then we had the great Kate Wait. Yes, my goodness. We had the great Kate Wait, and I remember about 2 or 3 weeks before the due date, and I think the due date was actually broken by Camilla Tominey, possibly. I seem to remember. No, actually, I think that might have been Prince George. Anyway, I can't remember. Camilla Tominey broke a pregnancy due date for one of the royal children. I'm thinking it might have been Princess Charlotte, actually. I'm going to go with Princess Charlotte because I wasn't doing a Royal Reviewer back in 2011, but I was doing it when Princess Charlotte was born. So anyway, I digress. I'm going to do a lot of digressing, so do bear with me. So the great Kate Wait happened. The press were camped outside of the Lindo Wing in London, and then eventually it came. And who can forget that moment when the easel came out of Buckingham Palace? There was an announcement via social media, and then of course, hours later we had the emergence of William and Catherine, and William sort of adorably sort of putting the car seat in, and then we got a little glimpse. The cameras were able to sort of get very close into Catherine's bundle, and you could see his little face, and people were wondering who he looked like, and blah, blah, blah. And then fast forward a little bit, we had his first tour. He was taken to Australia. He's had an amazing life, and I can't believe all of that was just so long ago. Time most certainly does fly, and it makes one feel old, doesn't it, my loves? Because think about it, he is 11 years old. He's only, a few years off being a teenager, only 4 years off being 15. And then, if you double his life, he's 21. Well, no, he's not. He's actually 22. But you know what I mean? He's in his early 20s. And wow. I mean, I don't want to wish his life away, but it just makes you think the passage of time goes so quickly. Before we know it, the press will be speculating on who he's going to marry. My goodness. Will I be around still reporting on the royal news by then? I don't know. It depends how many people watch me. Anyway, so let's take a look at the photo. It is in classic black and white. You can never really go wrong with black and white. I think it sort of, it goes through all the different sort of genres of photography, and I definitely think portrait photography suits black and white. He's wearing a little suit, but with a casual touch because the shirt is unbuttoned, and of course there is no tie. I quite concur. I hate ties. I don't mind bow ties, but I don't like the regular strip ties. I am not a fan. He looks so much like his father, Prince William. Just that sort of shape face. I can see bits of Catherine. I can see bits of Middleton. But on the whole, when you look at him, you see a little Prince William. Even, with the hair, Prince William used to have his hair swept over that way. Possibly a little bit more wave to his hair than his father. That could come from the Middleton side. But yeah, he's looking very happy. I can see he's got a little bit of jewellery on his wrist, which looks like a friendship beaded band, I think. It's definitely not jewellery. And then he's got a jacket with 4 buttons on the sleeve, the white shirt poking out. Like I said, it has that kind of casual, easy touch about it. Looks like he could be sat down outside. It looks like he's on some kind of step, possibly the covered porch. There is a covered porch at Adelaide Cottage where they live, so it could be. I'm definitely thinking it's outside. But the only information we know about the location is that it's taken at Windsor. So we know they live at Adelaide Cottage, but it could be anywhere on the Windsor estate. It could even be Frogmore House. Who knows? Not to be confused with Frogmore Cottage, where Harry and Meghan resided for a time. So lots of royal fans are saying happy birthday to Prince George. I really love the composition of the photo. Like I said, I haven't zoomed in to see if anything's out of alignment or, things have been spliced together. I'm not in for that, my loves. So I shall not be doing it. But yes, we thank the Princess of Wales for continuing with her photography, even after all that debacle that happened with the other photograph that was taken. I'm going to just briefly touch on a little bit of background on Prince George, just to refresh our memories. So I've already touched on it slightly, but he was born at St Mary's Hospital, London, the Lindo Wing. He was born at 1624, which is 424 on the 22nd of July, 2013. And of course, he was born under the reign of his grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II. Now, just before Prince George's birth, we hadn't had the occasion for a long time. I don't think. Well, there wasn't any letters patent in existence, so new letters were issued to grant Prince George from birth HRH and princely styles and titles, because of course, we had the heir to the throne, Prince Charles, then we had the heir's heir, Prince William, and then we had the heir's heir in Prince George. So there wasn't an automatic provision for him to have a princely style and title at the time until Queen Elizabeth II changed it so that any subsequent children, including George obviously, would have HRH and Prince or Princess, which obviously worked out just fine for Charlotte and Louis when they came along. As I've said, the traditional announcement easel was placed on the forecourt of Buckingham Palace, and an announcement social media was made, I think for the first time, about a royal birth. So Prince George, now a lot of people forget this, but he did spend the first months of his life in Anglesey. Remember, Prince William at the time was a search and rescue pilot, and he was training and working in Wales in Anglesey. So for those people who think that William and Catherine don't really know a lot about Wales, of which they now derive their titular designation of Wales from, then they do. They actually spent a good few years in their early married life on Anglesey, which is the Isle of Anglesey in Wales. So they definitely know that part of Wales. And there has been recently an advert placed for, I do believe, a private secretary working for William and Catherine. And one of the stipulations is that they know that they can speak Welsh, and that they have a good understanding of Wales, and all of how it's been devolved in terms of government. And basically, they're after somebody that's Welsh. But they haven't said we want a Welsh person, but all the criteria that they've put shows that they are looking for somebody who is Welsh, a Welsh speaker in their team, so that they can make good on their promise when they became Prince and Princess of Wales to get to know, to take the time to get to know Wales, which I think is a good thing. But, let's not forget that they did spend a good few years there, and Prince George spent some of his early months before relocating, of course, to Kensington Palace in 2014, and of course their Norfolk home of Anmer Hall, which of course is on the Sandringham estate. Prince George made his first public appearance on the balcony of Buckingham Palace following Trooping the Colour. And yes, I remember it well. And didn't he look adorable? I think he was dressed at the time in one of his father's old outfits that had been kept. George started primary school. Now, he did spend some time at school, kind of like a preschool in Anmer. But he went to primary school in September 2017 at Thomas's School in Battersea. And then, of course, when they relocated to Adelaide Cottage in Windsor Home Park, he has been at Lambrook, an independent prep school in Berkshire. And then it's expected he may go on to Eton. We have no confirmation on college school, but Eton is probably the most likely of candidates. Right, one thing that I was thinking about Prince George's birthday while I was in the shower. I do a lot of my royal musing while I'm in the shower. A nice long hot shower really gets the brain functioning. And I was, I'm sorry to have to bring Prince Harry into this. Shoot me. No, don't shoot me. But you know what I mean. I do apologise for bringing Prince Harry into this, but I think it's quite a pertinent point to make, really. I think that Harry's issues with being the spare actually really came to a crescendo a lot earlier than what we think. We see the crescendo as being when he spectacularly sort of flounced out of the royal family. I think it was much earlier than that. I actually think his crescendo moment was Prince George's birth. I think up until Prince George's birth, Harry was the spare. After Prince George was born, he was not the spare. And I think that this sort of realisation of his position in the royal family that was only ever going to get further and further and further away from the crown, if you like, I think it really resonated with Harry, and I think it really pushed a button and picked a nerve that I don't think he's ever quite recovered from. I'm not saying that Harry resents Prince George. It's entirely possible that he might, but I don't think he does. But I just think it brought along that realisation that his position is not as important as he would have liked it to have continued. And I think that was a sea change. And add on top of that Harry's perceived issues with the media, with the loss of his mother, and normal brotherly struggles and family struggles, not to mention growing up in the gaze of the media and the press intrusion. I think all of this was a big cocktail recipe, but I think it came to a head myself, personally, when Prince George was born, and I think Harry has never quite recovered from that. I think he's probably had the attitude of, well, why am I bothering, sort of thing, I've always been the spare, and now I'm even more further down. Rather than looking at the positives, that he can have a little bit more freedom than William and William's children, and also looking at the positive, that he can have a very fulfilled royal life, such as Princess Anne, Prince Andrew, as he was having at that time. I know he's not anymore, but he was at that time, still having an important role. Prince Edward, they all had really chunky supporting roles. Yes, they didn't have the media attention that they should have always been getting. And I think that's an issue as well with the press in general. There are not enough royal reporters to cover all of the events. So we need more royal reporters to cover all of the events. Obviously, certain individuals are going to garner more attention. But I still think that these events and things should be covered. I am actually really happy to see the royal family embracing social media. And I think that's, come about largely, in the last sort of 4 to 5 years. But I certainly think social media was coming into its own when Prince George was born. And I think now the palace is putting out more of their own photos, their own video work. And I think taking control of that way is a really good thing in this digital social media age. And of course, if they send people, or if every royals team has someone with a camera, all you need is a phone, my loves, and you can take the pictures and the videos and the Instagram reels. There's no reason why Princess Anne's team can't be taking videos when she's out and about and then uploading them onto social media. There's no reason why not. So I would like to see a continuation of that. I'd like to see more. And I wonder, sort of going back to Prince George, I wonder what social media, what the world, the internet is going to be like by the time he's Prince of Wales. Or even by the time he's king. I mean, my goodness, that is going to be pretty incredible. So let's take a look now at Prince George's future. So his immediate future, of course, is to finish school, wherever he ends up, Eton or whatever. And then I expect he will follow a similar kind of pattern to what his father, the Prince of Wales, did. I think, there may be a gap year where he could go off and explore the world, do a little bit of living, mix with, real different people from different backgrounds, which I think would do him the world of good. It seemed to do Prince William the world of good. So then it's probably expected he will enter into some kind of military training, probably circulating as his father did through all the different services. So you have a good general understanding, not an in-depth understanding. Think of it a bit like a sample box. You sort of get to spend some time in all the different services of which eventually you are going to be head of. So I think that really makes sense. Depending on what mindset he's on, he could continue some kind of career in the military, although I very much doubt, like his father, he would be able to do active service. However, Prince George strikes me as being a little bit more of the sensitive variety, so he could choose to go down a different route, maybe following in his father's footsteps of being a search and rescue air pilot or anything else that he wants to do. I don't think we should be limiting him, but I imagine that there would be some kind of, work that he could be doing. And I think that's good as well, to kind of, to know what a full day's work is like. Albeit probably with a little bit of special treatment and a few allowances for time off if he needs to go to royal events like Trooping the Colour or, having an extended period Sandringham at Christmas or whatever it might be. So I think there'll be some kind of work. And then I think he's got a choice. Enter into full-time royal duties or maybe continue with his career sort of choice, if you like, until the last possible moment. Then, of course, there'll be all the speculation about who he's going to marry. So expect all of that because that's not going to quieten down at all. Now, one thing that I have spoken about, which, I mean, again, I don't want to put this on any individual, but there is currently no provision within the royal family for if ever there was a same-sex heir to the throne, a same-sex relationship with the heir to the throne, or indeed a monarch, whether that be a female or a male. There's no provisions. And one thing that I would like to see in terms of equality in the UK is actually some kind of provision being thought of in advance, so that whoever is the first is not feeling like they are the first, that they would feel comfortable that there is something already in place to take care of or provide for that situation and that eventuality. So I've been talking about this for almost 10 years. I think I've been mentioning it. There is no provision for same-sex monarchs or heirs to the throne, or even aristocracy, to be quite honest. I mean, let's face it. Sir Elton John. I mean, I know he's not a born member of the nobility, but he was knighted by the Queen, by Her late Majesty, and he became a Sir. So he's Sir Elton John. Now, we know that he is married to David Furnish. So if Elton John had been married to a female, the female would have had the courtesy style of lady. Would have been Lady Furnish. Not Lady Furnish, Lady John. But because Elton John is married to a male, there's no provision. So there's a little bit of disparity between the sexes and genders and all of that, which I would like to see kind of closed up. And I think to make a start, there should be some kind of provision right from the top, and then sort of working its way down. It's one of the sort of last vestiges of equality when it comes to that needs to be kind of sorted out. And I think that if we want a nobility and an aristocracy and a monarchy that is fit for the future, it needs to be fit and accessible for everybody. I still think we can have, this sort of constitutional monarchy with its hereditary aspects and the nobility, and I still think we can have all of that, but everybody needs to be able to sort of have access to that. So there we go. That's just my thoughts on that. Right. I'm going to leave today's video here. If you've enjoyed it, please give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to share on social media. And of course, do hit that bell so that you know whenever I upload a new video. So from me, to you all, and goodbye. And happy birthday, Prince George!